Hi, my name is Angela Fortini, and my informative speech today is going to be the impact of poor sleep quality. I want to begin by asking you all a question. How many of you feel as if you got enough sleep last night? Okay, now my next question is how many of you feel really tired? Or how many of you feel as if you didn't get enough sleep as you wanted to last night? Okay, thank you. Now, for those of you that are expressing feelings of tiredness, I want to ask you guys a question. How many of you feel as if you're suffering from poor sleep quality? Now, I think it's crucial that I define what poor sleep quality is. From Marina Zolcho and Einar Thorstensen, both members of the Australian Psychological Society, they say that poor sleep quality is defined as the difficulty initiating, maintaining, and or achieving restful sleep. That same study that documents this also states that 16 to 23% of young adults suffer from poor sleep quality. And I believe this to be true because I was once part of this percentage. Now, I never really had a stable relationship with sleep, but when I started high school, this relationship turned very bad. I was struggling between fulfilling my dual credit classes on my home campus and doing my college veterinarian classes at CCTE. So this caused me to be studying all the time, pulling all-nighters, going to sleep at a minimum of 12 o'clock would be the earliest I would say that I would go to sleep. And this continued on for a short while. And I say a short while because eventually this sleep quality landed me in the hospital. What happened was one day my mind just couldn't comprehend anything anymore. My body started having uncontrollable shakes and extreme fatigue, which was to be expected by my sleep schedule. But when I got to the hospital, the doctor said that my body and my mind just couldn't keep up with each other anymore because I wasn't replenishing and refreshing my body or my mind through sleep. He said that I had to make some serious changes to my sleep schedule in order to counteract the negative effects that I was experiencing due to my poor sleep quality. Now, through my continued research, I found that poor sleep quality has an impact on physical performance and physical health, mental health, and I also found that there is a right way to sleep, and that is through REM sleep. Now, poor sleep quality, as I stated, has an impact on physical performance and health. A lack of sleep forms a negative correlation between your body's reaction times. Now, a journal studying the effects of sleep deprivation on university students expresses that sleep deprivation equals an increase in reaction time and in post-exercise systolic BP, which BP just basically just means your blood pressure. And all that means is that after you exercise, you have an elevated raise in your blood pressure as opposed to what it would have been if you got an accurate amount of sleep. The same study also states that 16% of those students report falling asleep while driving. And those students that pull all-nighters have their driving performances much like those that have a blood alcohol content of 0.1%. Now, I know that 0.1% doesn't seem like a lot, but imagine driving like a drunk driver solely because you didn't get enough sleep last night. Now, what this information concludes is that just having just one night of not enough sleep or poor sleep quality disables your body's physical functioning. It causes the neurons in your brain to not react fast enough or connect right to your motor neurons, which are responsible for your movements, and just causes impurities of your everyday life. Now, a lack of sleep also has negative impacts on a person's health. Now, a study done at the Iowa University through the College Student Journal shared this supporting evidence. Now, what this evidence said was that the levels of your immune related substances located in your body through your blood plasma, which is the liquid portion of your blood, is different on bedtime and at the time of waking up. Now, if you have sleep abnormalities and you don't get an accurate amount of sleep, then that means that you're going to experience an imbalance in these numbers of the chemical substances, which are going to result in irregular changes in your immune system. And since your immune system is responsible for protecting your body and keeping you safe from diseases and illnesses, it can result in obesity, diabetes, hypertension, which is just high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, strokes, and in extreme cases, death. I know. Now, but what these findings showed is that it showed just how important sleep is in order to keep our bodies healthy and thriving and stop us from getting uncontrollable shakes, just like I did. Continuing, not only does poor sleep quality have an impact on your physical performance, but it also and your health, but it also impairs your academics and your job performance. Now, that same study by the Iowa University continued their research by comparing students that got an accurate amount of sleep and those experiencing poor sleep quality and measured their academics and their job performance. Now, the results was that the student employees that did not get enough sleep were at a higher percentage for workplace accidents. And the highest of those was, of course, nodding off while driving. Second of all, pertaining to the academics, sleep loss was negatively caused the students to score very low or to do poorly on tests that examined their attention, their memory, and their problem-solving skills. Now, both these factors, academics and jobs, lead to poor sleep quality for college students because, as we all know, college is very expensive. Many of us are forced to work and go to school at the same time. But what this does is it causes us to try and work with a working schedule and a class and homework schedule in only a 24-hour day. Now, this is impossible. There's just not enough time in the day. But what happens is we all usually end up sacrificing our sleep in order to add more productivity for the day. And this causes an extreme amount of stress. Now, this stress allows poor sleep quality to negatively impact our mental health. Now, a lack of sleep causes an increase in the chances of developing depression and anxiety. So, the Division of Sleep Medicine at the Harvard Medical School shares in an article that they posted off of their research that chronic insomnia increases a person's chances of having a mood disorder, and insomnia increases a person's chances by 5 times of developing depression and 20 times to develop a panic disorder. And again, as the article that I stated above by Marina and Einar, the members of the Australian Psychological Society, they shared their continued research finding that dealt with mental health. Now, their findings on mental health was that there were that high levels of depression, anxiety, and stress were significantly associated with poor sleep quality. Also, having poor sleep quality causes a drastic change in moods. Now, that same source from Harvard expressed that sleep deprivation negatively impacts your mood. The study that they did dealing with students only sleeping 4.5 hours on a week period, and those students stated that in just that week time, they were more angry, they were more sad, they were more stressful, irritable, and they had greater mental exhaustion. Now, what this information concludes is that young adults' moods cannot be solely pinpointed on puberty or the fact that they have a bad attitude or that we're rude. But what many don't realize is that teenagers, starting from high school and university and college life, is that our sleep deprivation is causing us to act out in this way. It's causing our mental health to deteriorate and for our moods to constantly fluctuate between depending on how much sleep we get on a spontaneous schedule. Now, speaking about, I know throughout this whole presentation, you guys are probably wondering, well, how do I get the right amount of sleep to stop me from having those negative effects? The answer is through REM sleep. Now, what is REM sleep? REM sleep is just an abbreviation for rapid eye movement. Now, this is a rapid eye movement. Now, this period is a period of sleep where you are sleeping at your deepest. You're at an incredibly deep sleep. But your brain waves, as shown here, closely resemble that of your brain waves when you are awake. And that is because this is the period where dreaming happens. Now, because of dreaming, your motor neurons become, in a way, paralyzed to stop you from harming yourself and from harming other people. And in this stage, the deepest stage of sleep, this is the most important because this is responsible for your memories, your memory consolidation. And what that means is that this gives you the ability to re-examine your brain, re-goes through what happened throughout the day or the past couple days, and make sure that it stays concrete in your brain. Now, next we have the sleep cycle. Now, the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke states that the sleep cycle consists of 4 stages. The first 3 stages are all non-REM stages, and the fourth and final is the REM stage. So the first sleep stage is just falling asleep. Now, what this does is your heart rate and your breathing slows down. It may be examined by some twitches in your body. And this will last about 7 minutes, and it's just your body just beginning and starting to go to sleep. The second stage is still non-REM, and this is the very light non-REM stage. And this is exhibited by a drop in temperature and causes your eye movement to stop. Now, this is the teeter-totter stage between light and then moderate deep. And the third stage, which is the deep non-REM stage, that basically just means that everything, your heart rate, your breathing, your eye movement, everything is at its lowest point. But this is the stage that if you reach this stage, which you should, you will wake up feeling rejuvenated and refreshed. But we should always go one step further, and that is to the fourth stage, which is the REM stage. Now, this is where your rapid eye movement begins again, your memory consolidation, you begin dreaming, and this is where you will experience the deepest, most crucial part of sleeping. Now, how much sleep you need and how to enter REM sleep with the proper sleeping habits. Throughout this whole presentation, you're probably wondering, well, how much sleep am I supposed to get? You keep telling me. Well, for babies, they should get about 16 to 18 hours a day, and that is because they're still babies and they're growing into the different stages of their life. Now, school-aged children and teenagers need 9.5 hours of sleep. And I can assure you that as a teenager, I was not getting that. And young adults and most older adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep on a daily basis. All of this is on a daily basis. And your elderly need about 6. Oh, before I go to my conclusion, I want to give you guys some tips on how to reach REM sleep and how to have proper sleeping habits. And that is to make a sleep schedule. Try your best to go to sleep at the same time every day. Plan out what you need to accomplish and have your productivity finished throughout the day, and then go to sleep at the same time every day. You should also minimize the noise and light that you have around you, and that pertains particularly to cell phone and TVs. Now, in high school, I did a research paper for my English class based off the effects of blue light on your brain before sleeping. And it was the conclusion was that if you stare at your phone or a TV screen right before going to bed, that light emitted from the phone tricks your brain into thinking that it's daytime and that you should be awake. So that makes it harder for you to go asleep, stay asleep, and definitely makes it almost impossible to reach that REM sleep stage.